My name is NATIKA, and I'm grateful to be doing this project for St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. I have given some thought to the questions that were asked and trying to figure out where to begin. So I wanted to share why I come to church when so many people are not coming to church anymore. And I have to add that these are interesting times during COVID because going to church is quite different than it is normally. So I am attending church virtually like everybody else with the occasional in-person attendance. So I began going to church when I was younger with my grandma, and when my grandma passed away, I wanted to be close to a community again. So I started going to her previous church, which was Mount Paul United Church here in Kamloops. And it smelled the same, it had the same qualities that I remembered, and there were quite a few older people, so I felt like a granddaughter there. And it was awesome. And the other part that I loved about it was the community presence. And just being around all different kinds of people, but who were intentionally coming together to be part of a group that was wanting to live in a way that is respectful of God, in a way that we are intentionally loving one another in spite some of our very, very big differences. So I liked that eclectic kind of group. I liked being a granddaughter. I liked all of that. And as time continued, I had the call to go to seminary, and I'm in my second year at Vancouver School of Theology, and I'm doing my Master's of Divinity. There have been some big changes since COVID started. So for example, I've switched denominations into the Presbyterian Church of Canada, and I'm so happy for that for many reasons that I won't get into here. And our community has certainly changed a lot in terms of what church looks like. I continue to attend every Sunday, but logging in is quite different compared to coming and talking to people. And because I'm new to this church, I have wondered, how do I let people know that I'm here? How do I let people know that I'm interested? And so far, I think that I've been welcomed. And to me, there's no other place, there are no other communities in the secular world, or however you want to refer to it, that cultivate these kinds of communities that are welcoming, that are inclusive, that are open, that are eclectic, and still really wanting to work together. So the other piece is I'm learning more about church and what that means. It's really breaking through quite a number of stereotypes that I've held for a long time. So another reason why I'm interested in seminary and becoming a minister has to do with reconciliation. I am an Indigenous person. My daughter is Indigenous, and I wanted to know why. So my daughter is part of the residential school legacy. She's a third-generation survivor, and the school that her family attended was Alberni Indian Residential School, which was originally run by the Presbyterian Church and then the United Church of Canada. So I didn't know, I'm not sure how we reconcile some of these things with the intergenerational trauma, but as I learn more and more about some of the old ways and the ancestors of Christianity, I'm able to understand through my own lens what the ancestors represent. So one of the pieces that really moves me are the old stories in the Hebrew Bible, to be honest. So I am learning more about that and the creation stories and just the different authors, all of those pieces. And it's just so fascinating because they remind me of many of the Indigenous creation stories that I know. And I realized that somehow Christianity and the government or politicians, however, they formed a relationship that wasn't good for our people. In fact, it was terrible for our people. And how do we move forward from that? So as I learn more and more history and learn about the landscape of Israel, learn about the trade routes, learn about all this stuff, I'm just like so fascinated by Christianity, by the practice, understanding the roots, the worldview, all of these pieces. And I can only learn this and be reminded of it by going to church. Nobody talks about Christianity outside of church, not in my world. But in general, right now it's a kind of taboo to talk about it. It's okay to be spiritual but not religious. And so coming to church and practicing and being together with people for an hour every week helps me understand better what the principles are, like the main values and principles, which is important to me as an Indigenous person. So thank you very much for listening to me and hearing my story and hearing about my experience. I appreciate it. And I think it's important that more people do start coming to church if they have a feeling for it or they have an inspiration to attend or to learn more. There are so many opportunities now through Zoom to just check in and attend services, and I recommend that during COVID, especially now that we are more isolated than we've ever been, and who knows when we can actually come together safely again as a group. I think it's a good idea to connect if that's something that draws a person in. And I just want to say thank you for the opportunity, and I want to thank the people who put this project together and Pastor Steve, and have a great day.